Heroes in Crisis was a 9-issue miniseries written by Tom King, which released issues from 2018 to 2019. In the wake of its last few issues, however, Heroes in Crisis is largely remembered as a bad title and the worst Crisis story that isn't even a Crisis event. This is due in large part to the ending of the story. For those unaware, Heroes in Crisis is a murder mystery. Several heroes were gathered at this location called Sanctuary, a place for heroes and villains to come vent their frustrations and traumas in order to heal. One day, everyone at Sanctuary was killed, save for Booster Gold and Harley Quinn, who everyone suspects of the crime. The question being posed, who did it and why? Well, you're not going to be able to guess who it is because guess what? Spoilers! But the actual killer of these heroes is Wally West, the Flash who is believed to have been killed, and we, the reader, never would have been able to guess their involvement in the mystery because the mystery is bad and it's explained to us instead of laying clues out before us and hoping we could solve it. Wally West being the murderer by mental breakdown is another can of worms I won't get into due to the implications, but I don't think Heroes in Crisis should be completely written off as forgettable. Before I get into it though, I would appreciate a like and a comment if you could. Anyway, let's discuss Heroes in Crisis. First, I think the cover variants are particularly noteworthy, which highlights the mainstay DC heroes' points of trauma, or things that stuck to them deeply at least. It also gives them dates for their visit to Sanctuary. They're vividly illustrated and shows a lot of the horror of these moments were for them, and it makes you think about how it impacted their mental health and psyche. For example, Bane breaking Batman was a big point of contention for Bruce Wayne. He was wheelchair bound for some time and had Azrael take over as Batman, but Azrael was more violent and trying to prove he could fight crime better than Bruce. In the end, Azrael made Gotham fear Batman, and once he returned, Bruce had a lot to do to earn back the lost goodwill. The experience had to have some long-lasting profound effects on Batman, effects he would talk about in Sanctuary, I would think. And in between the main story of each issue, we see the tapes of DC heroes and their trip to Sanctuary, what they revealed about themselves, and their mental state and issues. It acts as sort of a mini character breakdown of the featured heroes, and while it doesn't give enough information on some heroes to get their idea, it gives you enough to think about their characters if you know enough about them, which I think is what works best for this series, and what should have been the focus. One hero who gets one panel revealed for their Sanctuary tape is Supergirl, who simply says, "I dreamt of Krypton again. It was nice, for a bit," which I feel says a lot just by saying a little. Living through the destruction of your planet is a lot to take in and process. But Tom King gets a chance to analyze Supergirl and her character in a future title, and a title I will get into later. Anyway, we get a little more time with Lagoon Boy as well, who reveals to us that in his visits, he uses the Sanctuary to shoot himself repeatedly. He's seen a lot of his friends and team members die in front of him, and his shooting seems therapeutic to him, in some way at least. And obviously, for Batgirl, it's her time in the Killing Joke and afterwards. Having been shot by the Joker to get to Jim Gordon and Batman, she feels Bruce looks at her as one of his many failures, which is something which is explored in many Batman comics. Batman failed Jason when he got killed by the Joker. He fails Gotham every other night. And he feels he failed Barbara by bringing her into the line of fire. In the story, she reaches out to Harley, who is hurting, believing they share the same pain. To Batman, they are both broken people who got hurt in his crusade to save Gotham, both being hurt specifically by the Joker. Possibly the Batman's greatest failure from his perspective. Since everyone is after Harley, Batgirl wants to find Harley and hope they can heal together and grow together from their similar experiences. I feel this aspect is a part of Hero in Crisis that is often overlooked. What I believe Tom King is trying to say here is that you're not alone in your trauma, in your fears. There are people out there who are hurting, who are trying to be better people, and people who are trying to improve themselves and be their best selves, just like you. You are not alone, and you don't have to go it alone. This is best explored not only through the arc with Harley and Batgirl, but also surprisingly with Wally West. He comes to Sanctuary wanting to improve himself and talk about his issues. He feels a lot of pressure when he became the new Flash after Barry Allen disappeared, and is still processing the disappearance of his family. He feels a lot of the pain and mental anguish, and he feels he is truly alone. He feels he isn't processing the trauma as well as other people, and is broken on a whole other level. The Sanctuary speaks to him, telling him there are other people here to heal from their pain, but cannot reveal so due to the anonymous nature of Sanctuary. It would be a bad idea if these tapes were to get out to the general public after all. The idea that others are experiencing the same thing he is going through, but can't see them, but is somehow all around him is baffling to Wally. He demands that Sanctuary show him the tapes, but the tapes are deleted the instant they are taken. But Wally West is faster than an instant. So he uses the Speed Force to see all of the deleted videos, in order to see that he isn't alone. But seeing every hero's trauma and pain is overwhelming, and he loses control of the Speed Force, which then kills the bystanding heroes. He then uses time travel and the Speed Force shenanigans to frame Booster Gold and Harley Quinn, and travels into the future to kill himself there, in order to take his body back to the past and leave it there along with the other dead heroes. Harley and Booster Gold, along with their friends, manage to find out this somehow, and heads back to the Sanctuary to stop Wally West from killing himself. But it seems like they didn't need to. Time travel shenanigans make it hard to understand a bit, but as I see it, the Wally West who killed himself and stayed in the past to cover up the crime, stayed in the past, reflected on what had happened, and by the time he reaches the point in time where he killed himself, the Wally West from the past, he doesn't do it because he finally understands he isn't alone, that he isn't the only one going through this pain. It's a bit heavy-handed that Wally literally must tell himself this lesson, but I still feel it's the whole heart of the series, which is also seen earlier with Harley Quinn and Batgirl. Mental wellness is a journey that you aren't alone in, nor do you have to travel it alone. And I feel Heroes in Crisis is at its best when bringing up these questions and discussing it, not as a murder mystery. It's not as good as it could have been. Maybe the decision to make it a murder mystery was imposed on him, but I feel the series feels more like a mental wellness book. If I were to rewrite it, I would have it where Wally was maybe defeated by his traumas, offed himself. The symbol of hope taking his life sends shockwaves through the superhero community, and the heroes begin to despair, picking each other up and healing alongside one another. But that's just me, and there are billions of ways it could have gone. But I can't say I dislike it. I just like the Heroes in Crisis, despite its flaws, and I choose to highlight its actually pretty great aspects. Anyway, this is getting longer than I anticipated. I really only wanted to make this video to highlight Supergirl's one panel in its comic, as like a promotional video for my Supergirl Women of Tomorrow video. But I found myself having a lot more to say about the worst crisis, as people called it. It's not perfect, but it's nowhere near as bad as I perceived it to be. Some people will claim this title made them lose faith in Tom King as a writer, which I don't think is fair. Okay, for real now. If you like this video, please give it a like and a comment, and subscribe if you're looking forward to my upcoming Supergirl video. Check out my other ones if you're also interested, and let me know what you got out of Heroes in Crisis. In the meantime, I'll be finishing up what I hope is my magnum opus thus far. Bye bye.